I thanked him for moving everybody out of the hallways. I thought that was nice of him. Okay, are we ready? Everybody ready? Yep. Okay, then I'd like to call this meeting to order tonight. The first thing on our agenda is approval of our minutes from the October...
Madam Chair,
Yep.
I have one brief and semi-serious comments on the minutes.
Okay.
I loved where Ms. Kennedy was quoted regarding the illustrious Dr. Bazehart and said, he's political, but I like him anyway. And I just want to say that we have several people on this group that are political, some more than others, and I hope we'll like each other anyway. And with that, I move approval.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the minutes from October 27th. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, are there any other comments, changes, additions, whatever? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And I also vote aye. Thank you very much. Tonight, we are going to be reviewing the redistricting presentation for the county council, which is scheduled for their next meeting, which is November 17th?
16th
16th, I'm sorry, 16th, Tuesday the 16th, okay,
at 10 a.m.
at 10 a.m. We don't have a time on that yet, so when we have a time on when will be put on the schedule?
No, it's well, we don't designate certain times for the agenda items, but you are at the beginning of the agenda. That agenda was released today.
Okay.
So I suggest being here at 10 a.m.
Okay, so if anybody would like to come, and tentatively, after we get the presentation to the council on the 16th, we're looking, or Mrs. Hurley said they're going to be looking at possibly having the public hearing on the redistricting plan on December 7th.
Right.
And that would be an evening meeting. Public hearings with the council are usually advertised for 6 p.m.
Correct.
So if you all want to put that on your calendar and come for that. And then maybe hopefully they will make a decision on the 21st of December, which would be their last meeting for this year. And that also is a day meeting, so that's a 10 o'clock meeting. Okay. We have an executive summary, and we have the redistricting presentation. So let's see, which way do you all want to start? Do you want Frank to start first? And the executive summary is kind of a, what's the word I want? Conglomeration of all, overview. So why don't we start with the presentation first, and then we can, if there are any other comments to add to the executive summary, we can do that.
Well, first off, good evening, everyone. I'd like to go through the presentation that was set up. Right now, this is still considered to be in draft form, so feel free to make comments, corrections, additions, deletions, as you see fit.
Can we close that door?
We cannot close it because it's an open meeting.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. All right, so everybody will have to speak a little louder then.
Okay.
How's that sound?
So please make sure that your names are spelled properly and correctly.
Madam Chair, can we ask the tech guys to turn up the mics, turn them louder?
Yeah, I'll say something to Beth.
Thank you. It's easier actually to turn a mic up louder than to yell into it.
Okay. Well, I learned something new. I didn't know you could do that.
There you go. Well, maybe you should join community theater.
Always recruiting, are you?
If you could just make
Absolutely.
sure you talk close into the mics. He doesn't know how to adjust the volume, but if you get closer to the mic, you'll come through the speaker here.
Okay.
The format of this is similar to like a PowerPoint. It's a lot of bullet points. Did not want to have a lot of information that had to be read on screen or presented to the council.
Dr. Bazehart, did you want to move up closer if you can't hear?
No, I can hear.
You okay?
I'll move over. Yeah.
Okay. Mhm. Sorry, Frank, I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's okay. Did you want me to read this, or do you want to just look at the screen and?
Everybody everybody was sent this to review before tonight. So I don't know if, I guess the best way to do it, if somebody has a comment or addition or correction to any of these pages as we go through them, do it that way maybe?
Yeah, I'll just kind of go through them, give you time to take a look at the screen, and if you have comments, let me know of anything you want to change, and otherwise, we'll go to the next. I thought it was important that we discuss the adjusted population requirements. So this indicates that the state has required this since 2010, and we followed this rule in 2010 redistricting. The total population of the county was 103,588. Total adjusted was 104,277. We picked up 689 people because of the adjustment. We'll try to give a look at what we did 10 years ago. So here we give the breakdown, and this is also carried through later on in the presentation, where you compare 10 years to the current information. This is the current map that's was adopted in 2012. So this shows, the redistricting information, basically taking the 2020 census data and analyzing that with the 2010 boundaries. One thing that's interesting in this is we also show the growth here from 2010 to 2020 per district. So you can see total growth was only 5,044 people in the 10 years. So here we're comparing the 2010 to 2020. In 2010, an effort was made to get as close to the ideal population as possible. And you see, except for one district, they were right around 1%. 2020, the numbers came in or much higher, but mostly still within the deviation, except for that one district. And this slide shows, the breakdown that in green, all of those districts fall within the deviation allowed, with the exception of District 4, which is negative 5.11% deviation. It needs to be less than 5. So in this case, District 4 needed 24 people to come into compliance. This slide shows all the different tables that were analyzed during this process, where you can compare one to the other. We also looked at how many people were moved from one map plan to another. And as you can see, it ranges from 52 for the minimal to 8,379 to one of the requests from the committee. The numbers you see here, each map had areas that were identified. And you can see how many people in that particular area were moved. This is an extract of one of the maps that kind of shows, will show the council how you looked and evaluated, the potential moves from the boundaries as well as the impact of how many people would be affected by that particular move. So after much deliberation, the committee chose to do the minimal impact, which was, there was a little bit of adjustment, which I can show you in a second. But basically, they moved 49 people from District 3 to District 4, and 3 people from District 3 to 5. This map shows the 49 people in an area over near the park. This is Village in the Park, where 49 people were moved. Also, there was an area that was changed for a map adjustment. There was no population there. This was a lot of the city park, but also an area along Main Street where Royal Granite is and Burnett White. So there's no people living in that area. The second map shows Willards being expanded to come south of Route 50. This area you see down here used to be in District 3. It's now going to be in District 5, and there were 3 people moved from that district. This is the full map of the minimal impact. I thought it was important that we note that there were no county council members or board of education members would be moved from one district to another. Thought that warranted its own slide. This compares 2010 to 2020. 2020, if you look in the deviation, they all fall within that 5% deviation, 5 above or 5% below. And in the end, when you compare the 2 maps, virtually they're almost identical, except for those 2 small areas, that we discussed earlier. That's it. If there's any questions or anything you want to add or change.
Okay, all right. That was easy. Then I guess I need a motion to accept that presentation. Is that what we need to do?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, and do you want a roll call vote on this like we did last week, or do you,
Yes.
a yea or no would be all right? What would you prefer for the minutes, roll call vote or
Yeah, we can do a roll call vote. Just-
Okay, Mayor, we'll start with you since,
Aye.
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 Great, thank you. That was very nice. Thank you, Frank. That was appreciated very much. Okay, now the other piece that will go to the county council will be the executive summary, and you've all received a copy of that. And it basically is kind of a generalization of the presentation we're going to give them, including all the maps. Does anybody have any comments or additions or changes to that? Okay, then I guess we'll get a motion now to approve that. I'd like to do that as a separate motion. May I have a motion to approve the executive summary for the council? And second?
Second.
All right, do you need a roll call vote on that again, too? Okay, we'll start, Julie, with you this time.
Aye.
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 Great, that takes care of that. Now, is there anything else anybody would like to say or add or change, or we'd like to change things? We're done with that part. Dr. Basar, did you want to say anything, since you are our guest, our first guest in all our meetings? Come on up to the table, and there's mics up here.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. I didn't come expecting to say anything tonight, but since I was invited, I'll say a couple words. I was on the Redistricting Commission in 2011, 7 of us, so I know it's a lot of unglamorous work, but important work to be done. And my only comment is not about your specific plan, but as I mentioned to the chair when we were talking before the meeting, I think the county needs to review its process of redistricting. And this may surprise you since I've been referred to as a political person, but and something like Governor Hogan's plan that he has used for congressional redistricts, the plan's out there, and I believe the state legislative plan is too, where there's more of a truly a bipartisan membership on the commission. I believe he has 3 Democrats, 3 Republicans, 3 independents, and I also would add to that that although all of you voted for the plan, that there needs to be more of a consensus voting during the process rather than just majority. I would favor an extraordinary majority of maybe the plan I've been working with has 9 members, maybe having 6 members rather than just a simple majority, or maybe even 7 to have more of a consensus. And I think the criteria for the county needs to be maybe not broader, but there needs to be more items incorporated into the criteria. And what I've been working with, and I proposed to the Charter Review Committee, is about 5 criteria prioritized. So that's what I'm more concerned about, is the process. And since we have a city council member here, I've tried to figure out how the city council draws district lines, and at least looking at the charter, the city council draws the lines. And I think the city also needs to look at this. And maybe, if not for this year, for 10 years from now. And maybe we could all agree on, here's a good process that we want to see used next time in the county. And I hope the city would also look at that. I agree with Governor Hogan when he says that a lot of the ways we use redistricting in the nation is that politicians, usually the way it's phrased, politicians pick their voters rather than voters picking their leaders. And I agree with that. And I think we need to think about the process. And now is sort of a good time to think about the process for next year, or next 10 years. So thank you very much for allowing me to say a few words.
No problem. Well, the Charter Review Committee is, I assume, still looking at the charter. I know I've seen some of your comments to them. And I'm guessing the way it was done maybe like 10 years ago, once the Charter Review Committee is finished with their meetings, they will make recommendations to the council, and then it'll be November 2022, the public will, it'll be on the ballot for the public to vote on whether they want to approve those changes or not? Yes. Okay, so it'll be coming to but I mean, now as you say, it's the perfect time to do this because, obviously we had to do things as were already written this time.
That's right. And Charter Review Committee didn't seem particularly interested. A few members did, so that's why I'm thinking I may talk with the county council. I laid out a pretty specific plan, and there are variations of redistricting reforms that could be looked at. It would take a little time to do it. In fact, it'd be nice if your committee, fresh from this experience, if you had time to think about, well, how could this be different? It's not easy for anybody to give up political power, and to some extent that's what I would be asking the county council to do, although they would have final approval. It's hard to give it up, but I think in the long run, for representation of Republicans in the state of Maryland, Democrats in Wicomico County, minority groups anywhere, that we need to look at the process again. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Appreciate you coming tonight. That was very nice of you to do that. Okay, let's see. All right, I don't think we have anything else on the agenda. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I would like to make a couple of final comments before we adjourn, which I hope we're going to do pretty soon, because I don't want to stir up a hornet's nest either. I really would like to thank the staff who helped us through this process, Ms. Hurley and Mr. Illuminati, and specifically Mr. McKenzie. I think that, I know that, if you just look at what we did, our final was we moved 49 people from one district to another and basically did the bare minimum that the council asked us to do. And it looks like we did nothing, but we really did a lot. And I think that came through in Mr. McKenzie's review of the charts. We looked at ways to try to make this county better by redistricting if we could. And basically one thing that came up multiple times was the issue of equity in voting and appropriate representation for all of the voters of the county. And some of us felt that it's not quite appropriate right now, and some of us felt that that's not the Redistricting Commission's purview. Our purview was concise, contiguous, and 5%. The one thing I would like to say is that if equity isn't a concern of the Redistricting Commission, we don't need districts. The only reason we have districts in this county is because we were found by a federal court to have unfair elections. Basically, almost no minority people were ever elected to the at-large positions, and now it turns out that no minority people are currently being elected to the at-large positions on the county council. That we have a 30% African-American population in the county, and we have one district where they're not most, but a lot of them are packed in, and that gives them 14% of the county council. And I am not criticizing any of the fine at-large elected council people, either the two that we have now or many other really strong people who did the best they could. But unless, in my opinion, we get rid of the at-large districts and go to 7 or 5 districts, but I don't think that would solve the problem. A 7-member council with no at-large, I don't think that we are going to address equity. And I will bring this to the attention of the Charter Review Committee, because changing it, that's not our business. But revealing that we have thought about it, that is our business. And we did think about it. The pros, the cons, we didn't vote on it. It's not our purview. But it is the county council's purview to recommend a charter change. I don't think we would want it to come to the point, which it could, that another federal lawsuit is filed. And you know, it's classic, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm not even much of a doctor now. But I think that we do not want to be involved in that kind of litigation, and it might come to that. And I think it would make sense for the Charter Review Committee to take a hard look at the composition of the council and bring those types of conclusions to the council itself. And with that, I'm going to hold my peace.
Would anybody else like to make any comments? Or okay. Well, now, just for clarification, since we have approved this redistricting presentation tonight, this will go on the council website, or is it already on the council website?
I have not included it in the briefing material yet, but on Friday I'll add that.
No, I mean, on the council website, there is a redistricting committee tab.
That's up to you guys.
Do you all think you want this posted on that tab for the public's information, since we are subject to public?
Yeah, we passed it, sure.
Yes. So let's do the map and the executive summary, because the minutes will be posted also that we just approved. So let's put everything out there so that Dr. Basehart, if you want to look at it again, or anybody else wants to look at it, it'll be available to the public.
Yes,
And particularly since the council has to hold a public hearing.
correct.
So
Okay.
are you going to present this on our behalf, Gail?
Well, I guess as chair, I was thinking I should, but I would like anybody else who wants to come, please. And we'll all sit at the table together. How does that sound? I'm
We will.
serious,
and,
yeah.
I think it should be understood that only you will speak for the group, and if any of the rest of us speak, it's as individuals.
Think we could do that?
Candy.
Pardon?
The rest would just be eye candy.
Well, the eye candy's
No, I
not
think
on
it's,
this
I
end,
think
with
it's
the
important.
exception
And I
of
think even for the public hearing the council will hold, if you all want to come to that, please show up. And again, if they make decisions on this on, December 21st, I guess, then we need to come to those too if you want to.
And what is the first date? I missed that.
Next
November
Tuesday morning?
16th
November 16th.
at 10 o'clock, that's the next county council meeting.
Okay,
Right.
10th in the morning.
All right?
Move to adjourn?
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. Thank you for all your time and all your work.